joining us. This is the second session on day 3 of the EXPO Real program on the International Investors Lounge. We've just had a session which focused on diversity and inclusion, and we're going to be looking now, because a lot of day 3 at EXPO Real is focused on young professionals and bringing new people in. And so the focus of this is really on attracting new talent and what the industry needs to do. And I think diversity is also a key part of that. Thanks very much for joining us on the live stream. If you've got any comments, feel free to put those into the chat or the comment stream, and we'll try to address these. And again, this is designed to be a kind of quick take from everybody on where we see the industry, and particularly how we attract new talent into it. Let's just start with introductions. My name's Richard Betts. I'm the publisher at Real Asset Media. We run a series of these types of events looking at sectors, hot topics in the industry. And we run the International Investors Lounge along with this program over 3 days at EXPO Real, and we'll be doing the same thing at MIPIM as well. Let's start with you, Aaron. Just a quick introduction of yourself and the company, and then we'll work our way down. Aaron.
Okay. Already works. So I'm Aaron. I'm here from Chorus Management, and we are a private equity real estate investor. And I started my own career after uni just like 4 years ago with the Boston Consulting Group, and did like recruiting for them for like 3 years. So I was very much in contact with a lot of young professionals and growing talent within the company. And now for the last 4 months, we started the same at Chorus Management, where we have also some BCG talent. We are transferring our whole HR system towards like attracting young talent. And yeah, there's a lot of change in the industry, and we're going with that change.
Great, perfect. Erwin.
Yeah, my name is Aaron Bukkers. I'm CEO and founder of Channels. Channels is a prop tech company based in the Netherlands. And we're working mainly for property management and real estate investors to improve the communications. And I think quite in line with a lot of tech companies is that we have a lot of young professionals in the team. And I think finding new talent is one of the biggest challenges for us at the moment.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Sylvia.
My name is Sylwia Ziemacka. I'm a head of membership and network at Senior Housing and Healthcare Association. I'm based in Poland, so additionally I am a lecturer at the University of Łazarski, which is a very business-oriented university in Warsaw. But I also do several projects from the perspective of employer branding and employers trying to attract talents.
Great, thank you. Ron.
Hi, morning. My name is Roland Royce. I'm associate professor at Amsterdam School of Real Estate. I'm founder of MI, which is a, well, let's call it an advisory boutique on alternative real assets. And I'm the chairman of the SHA, so also a colleague of Sylvia.
Great, thank you. It would be really interesting just to start with you, Aaron, in terms of, because obviously you're looking at it from the HR side. I suppose, what are the settings within the company? What are you looking for? How are you attracting talent? And what are you doing within the company to try and, I suppose, change that and change people's views on the real estate sector?
So our main goal actually, so we are directly targeting towards young professionals, because in them we see a special drive. They still want to create maybe more than somebody who's already like 20 or 30 years in an industry. Of course, somebody who's that long in an industry has much more experience, that's for sure. Maybe the drive is going a little bit down, but like I don't want to confront somebody, but we made a lot of good experience with young professional talent, especially with people who are joining us for an internship, for example. And it's, for example, always the best test because they're working with us, yeah. And afterwards, the best thing for us is to convert the talent directly into a full-time employment.
And in terms of the business itself. How much of that is people who are under 30? How much of it is people like me who are plainly not under 30? What's the sort of structure of the business there?
So you mean like the structure, okay, that many people are below?
Yeah, I mean in terms of average age. I mean, you mentioned there that you're targeting young professionals. So I suppose what's the position at the moment within the company?
Yeah. So I would say like the average of age within, for example, our investment team is around 25, 26 years old, so very, very young. These are the guys mainly who went to business schools, maybe in the UK, maybe in Switzerland or in Germany. So I call St. Gallen or WHU. These are like typical business schools we are recruiting from. And then when it comes, for example, to the more senior positions, of course, there's an average probably around like 32 or 34. I think like even one of our founders is younger than me. I'm 30 years old. Philip Horst Temke is 28 years old. I'm just looking over to Camilla, who's accepting that. And so also these guys who are our founders are also still in that league of, if you look at the age range, we're all very close to the young professionals, even though they have seen maybe a lot more.
Okay, good. And it would be interesting also, from your point of view, Erwin, I mean, technology, because you're in the technology and innovation sector as well. So I suppose when you're looking at the pool of talent that you're trying to attract, technology, innovation should be an interesting area, but are they put off by the fact that it's within real estate, or is that interesting? What's, you know, how do you see the people who are coming to you and that you're trying to attract?
Yeah, so I think because we are in the prop tech, I think prop tech is a little bit in the state now where fintech was 5 years ago. So it's booming. So I think there are a lot of young professionals that want to work in technology in this industry. On the other hand, I think a lot of young professionals are looking for more than just a job. So they look for purpose in their life and what can they create and what is their impact. So I see from an HR perspective that we really work on the company goals and what we improve in the industry. I think a little bit related to ESG and sustainability in general. And I think then it's possible to attract the good young professionals. But we have some difficulties actually to find them all in the Netherlands. So we have a lot of colleagues coming from everywhere to live in Rotterdam, actually close to our office, and work together. But the pool is quite distributed over Europe, where we try to find talent. So not only in Rotterdam and Amsterdam.
Okay,
yeah.
good. And Ron, in terms of the Ron and Sylvia, you know you're in Poland. You're at the Amsterdam School of Real Estate. What are you seeing in terms of I guess the students that are coming through? And are you seeing more diversity, more inclusion in the students that are coming to you on those real estate courses? Ron, let's start with you and then Sylvia.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with Erwin, because youngsters are really purpose-driven. So they focus on different type of asset classes, for example, senior housing, healthcare, real estate. It's also about lifelong learning, so try to, well, continuously, enrich yourself, broaden your spectrum, etc. And I think we're also trying to make more crossovers, so not only focusing on offices, but also try to make mixed-use developments. And well, it takes something different from teams. So I totally agree. The previous meeting about diversity, well, it was spot on. But not only gender diversity, it's like how can we create, well, quite rich teams with multiple perspectives, where we have, well, a different type of assets within a team, and also more creativity, cultural insights, and that's also when you look at the Amsterdam School of Real Estate is a postgraduate university, but we totally see a different type of student with a different type of mindset, and actually I would like to broaden the theme of this meeting, because it's not only about young professionals, it's also about new leadership. So that's, I think, key. It's about empowerment of young professionals. And I think we're also working on new types of organizations. So young professionals they love to be straightforward. And me too. So when you're a lady, when you're from Africa, or whether you're 12 or 20, it's about doing business together. So that's really my focus. And that's also what we're seeing at Amsterdam School of Real Estate or in general in the Netherlands, because there I'm based in the Netherlands.
Okay, good. And Sylvia, yeah.
Yeah, so well, I agree, and definitely what we are tackling here is about, culture of the organization, which can be a key factor, and of course, the culture have to follow the needs of the younger generation, and this diversity is not only, of course, cultural diversity or gender diversity, but it's also generation diversity, because at certain level, I think in a lot of companies we need people also, because somebody who is experienced with and has 50 years is old, also can bring a very interesting experience and perspective to the teamwork, and he can really, if the culture enables, working as a team and really embrace this cultural and generation diversity, then really a 50-year-old person can create a very good team with a 20-year-old person. It's just, important to understand what are the assets of each person in the company. And I think that, this is important. There was actually a few years ago, it was very interesting. I'm sure you can still find it on YouTube, but I think Jack Ma, the CEO of Alibaba, he had his keynote at the World Economic Forum, and he was actually giving advice how to lead the career. And what he said, it was actually something like that: if you are between 20 and 30, start your, professional development, work as much as you can, take as many experience as you can, and later when you enter 30 and plus, you can find out what are your personal skills that can, be, helpful in your work. What do you want to do? And then, other phases. So I think, in every level of your professional development, there are some other aims and goals. And I think it's important to understand it when you are working within the teams.
And that's really interesting. I think that picking up that point around young leadership and developing talent as it moves through. And Erwin, just maybe, as CEO there, that's patently the role that you've got to be able to, bring these people through, bring young talent through, and help nurture that and develop it for the positive good of the company. So I suppose, what are the initiatives you're doing? What are the strategies that you're doing? What's the culture there that you're trying to develop?
Yeah, so I think on a few levels. So first of all, I think on a professional level, of course, we try to shift the responsibilities to the teams. So we never talk about departments. Everyone is in a team, and there's a lot of crossovers between teams and a lot of stand-ups. And I think the modern way of working, I think especially in technology, that is kind of state of the art to do it like that. But I think then on, let's say, not the professional side, but more next to your work, I think we try a healthy culture of learning, developing yourself, but also, of course, team building. And we see that's really important. And that's also the reason why we have most of our team all located in Rotterdam. So to build really that connection with each other and learn from each other. But we see also that, for example, the hybrid structure is now obviously something what stays. I think it's also listening to the young professionals, but also the older employees.
It's pointing at me.
He was pointing at me.
Well, maybe also a question: how about the values of trust? Because one of my observation is, I think the old-fashioned way of doing business is top-down, and it's also about responsibilities and then measurement, in or out. And I think trust has become a very important value, and especially youngsters are really, not only purpose-driven, but also trust-driven. And is it also one of your core values of your company, and how you're trying to empower youngsters in your business?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, we have a monthly team meeting where every one of the company is in, and we had last month, that was the main topic to discuss, because a lot of new colleagues had some opinions on that and said we could improve that, and then we just start a conversation together and give them the trust to build that culture, because you do it together. And I think I think it doesn't really matter how big the company is, but I think every hire can have a huge impact on the team dynamics. So I think it is also, definitely for HR, a big challenge to find the right fit in the team and not kind of destroy the culture that you build up.
So I would add to this that actually I think that also partnerships go in line with the trust, and I think that we are creating different culture, and actually COVID showed it a lot. I mean, I can refer to the Polish experience, where apart from how much we talk about diversity and inclusion and new model of leadership, I think that before COVID, still, the way of doing business that I tell you what to do and you are doing because I'm the boss, was quite okay. But now with the hybrid working, everything has changed, and I think that that requires also on the side of the leaders and on the managers. Not all the managers are leaders, right? But requires from them to change the attitude towards partnership and to treat everybody equally. It doesn't matter if it's an intern or if it's your full-time employees for 20 years.
Yeah, and Aaron, Irvin there also mentioned that the challenge there was for HR, which obviously means that that's the challenge for you. So I suppose it would be interesting to get your perspective on that young leadership aspect, and also, Irvin said that a hire can have a really big influence, and so therefore that selection process is really important. So I suppose, how do you deal with those challenges there at Chorus?
So I think we are a friend of cold water. I myself also jumped a few times in my life into cold water because that's always the best thing to learn something. And I think you can really, it's not only about leadership and young leadership, but also to give young professionals the opportunity very early to be a leader, because they are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, and in your company maybe like in 1-2 years later, because you want to give them early responsibility. And it's like a saying, like grow by growing others. So you grow by teaching others, and of course, like if you get into a company early, you don't have like a big pyramid below you, but like just do your work, take on special tasks and everything, because you can't fall too deep. Like there's already somebody beneath you, and the best thing it's maybe your head off, maybe a mentor. That's something I always give as an advice. Look for a mentor when you're like 22, 23 years old, who gives you advice your whole career, even though he's not in your company anymore. So that's how we do it at Chorus.
Good, and it would be interesting also just to get when you're looking specific, when you've got a challenge which is right, okay, we need to increase the number of employees we've got, the number of partners that we've got. What ticks all of the boxes for you? What are you looking for from a young professional? Are you looking for to meet diversity targets? Are you looking what are you looking for when you're actually hiring? What's on your tick list?
So I'm not a special friend of having a female crowd or a diversity crowd. I see it as a natural thing, but I'm a big friend of going somewhere where I could possibly meet diverse people, because I think diversity is key, definitely, and we've proved that in the panel before, I think. And but if I have to make a decision, hire A or B, and hire A is better, even if it's not diverse, I'm more like a friend. Okay, I go for the skill set at the end of the day. But still, if I have to say one thing, it's drive, and because drive is something that makes a person fulfilling their dreams and driving impact, and for the company, it's I think the best thing you can find. I mean. If I look at Erwin, who's like 30 years old, just as me, the CRO, and has like a lot of people he's working with, and he's like influencing, I think you've got a lot of drive, probably.
I hope so.
I would hire you.
So excellent. So the key for anybody there, if you want to work at Chorus, is drive. So that's the key thing. And Owen, I mean, I'm aware also that at Channels, it's quite diverse in terms of the employee profile, if you like. So just talk us through a little bit about that. I mean, has that happened accidentally? Is it just that you've been more open to that, or is it's naturally to do with the industry that you're working within?
Yeah, a little bit of both, I would say, because I think what Aaron also just said, I think for us, it's also skills is the first thing and drive what is most important. But what we see, because we're working in many countries, then you also need certain languages, for example, within the team, and that automatically supports, I think, a nice mix of cultures, backgrounds where you can learn a lot from. So I think we see that in the team, that it's all about talent and skills, and then automatically, we were serving in over 15 countries, so our tech, so we need the languages, the culture differences, we need it in the team as well, because we need to understand our client. So I think it automatically happened for us, to be honest. But it is great to see it, because you can learn so much from that. Every day, I think, you see that in the team, that everyone has a different perspective. And that's great to see, that you don't have, like, we have not a full Dutch team that all have the same perspective on things.
And sorry.
Well, I can also say that this is something, skills like intercultural skills are also growing. So now, for example, if you will take a look at the research, talking to the employers and what they are indicated as the skills or sets of the skills, intercultural skills are getting more and more important. And of course, we have very pragmatic aspects like languages, obviously, but also this empathy, trying to understand other cultures, understand before judging people, and so on. When you work on the international in the international environment, it's very important, and I think that's also in terms of the European market, that's how it's gonna be the market, right? People are going, especially young people. The world is open; they just go where they find their work opportunities. So the fight for the talent is really growing, and you have to create a good environment to attract talents. But also, I would like also add a comment to this driver. I was I was interviewing once a manager from a big corporate, because business services in Poland, for example, is growing, and really it's mostly for employing young people. So I asked him, what would be your advice for young people, in terms of the career? And he said, be the owner of your career, because what they are often facing is the fact that that's also something that was commented in the HR magazines, that, because there is a generation of young people who was managed by parents in terms of selecting what courses, everything was managed by the fathers. They sometimes feel that somebody has to take over and tell them what to do. So they are waiting what to do, where to go. So also what the managers are saying, that for the young people, the message would be that be the owner of your career, because you have an impact. So if you just want, go ahead.
It would be interesting, actually, just to pick up from everybody. There's only around kind of 7 minutes left, so if anybody's got any views, please do share them. But it would be interesting, just in the last remaining part, is to, you mentioned there that kind of war for talent, which is happening already within the sector, but of course the sector is just one of the sectors where people can work. So are we doing enough in the real estate sector, admittedly within the tech sector as well for you, Irvin, but are we doing enough within that to attract talent from outside of the sector to come in? What's your sense of that, and I suppose what do we need to do in order to change that or enhance that? Anybody can pick.
Ron, I would say it's to you, ESG.
Well, maybe I think there's a short answer, and that's no. So do we do enough? No. I think we're still quite lazy. And we're not straightforward. We're not searching for the boundaries. So I think that's really, well, let's put a stone in the water. But I think old leadership, they're just thinking, well, we're here, we've done it before. Well, wake up. I think there are a lot of mind shifts. I think we're in an age where we're driven with big cultural changes, transformation, etc. And I think in the end, it's all about attitude. So your drive, I use the word attitude, and therefore one of my advice will be, well, I think the main competence is eagerness and willingness to share. And indeed, I totally agree with ESG and impact. I think being successful is also willingness to cooperate and to share. And when you share, you can multiply. And I think most parties, organizations are still old-fashioned, and I think they should wake up, because otherwise they will be out of business quite soon.
And I can tell also from the something what I heard in Poland recently. So because of the prop tech and all these technical businesses are very appealing for young people. So I had a discussion with an organization in FMCG. And they said that they have to invest a lot because young people now they don't want to work in FMCG, which used to be like, I don't know, 20 years ago because of the salaries and everything. You know, everyone wanted to work in Coca-Cola, I don't know, Procter & Gamble or Johnson & Johnson. And today they want to work in Google, Amazon, and this type of companies. So I definitely think that you have to be aware that the world is changing. This purpose-driven and also the companies that have a positive on the work, on the positive effect on the environment, on the social aspects, are gaining more and more attention from the young people. So it's not only driven by money, and I think that that's important to remember. Okay, great. Erwin.
Yeah, I think to add to that, I think it's definitely about the other perks, and I think also on let's say a bit more long-term vision. So I think I have a lot of conversations in the end of the job interviews about where do you want to be in 3 years and 5 years, and how do you see your career. And I think that's something what a lot of companies I think forget on their HR page, to talk a little bit further than the first year. So I think that's really important for at least young professionals. Yeah.
Okay, great. Aaron.
Yeah, the choice now is definitely on side of the top talent, and you mentioned the time range of like 20 years, and it's like exactly I would say the same, because like with social media, I think they came also up that like, I mean, when I was young, I knew like Coca-Cola, I knew Audi, I knew BMW. Okay, maybe I'm going to work for them in a few years, but when I turned 20 or something like that, like a lot of medium-sized companies, a lot of startups, they were able to publish much easier like what they offer, and now you have the choice because you know much more.
No, that's great. Really interesting to get everybody's views on this topic. If we're here again next year, which we will be, COVID allowing, that there isn't some sort of terrible thing, what would we like to see in terms of young professionals being here? You know, what's our aim for, you know, if we want to do this, what do we want to be discussing next year? Where can we have moved on to? So let's start again with you, Ron. So where are we aiming to be at?
Well, maybe two components. One, fully crowded with young professionals, but also with eager, old-fashioned old leaders, like who are eager to transform. And they're not here. Maybe a few. So I'm really curious. There are a few, maybe old leaders, let's call it old. So why are you here? Are you indeed eager to transform? Is there any willingness to empower young professionals? Because it takes two sides.
Okay, great.
Well, I would say that I would refer to ESG, and I think that, you know, the young generation is in power to drive the real change and not to leave it only on the PR level, but really transform the industry to show that, you know, they can really make an impact, and it doesn't have to be long.
Great. Erwin.
It would be great to see a more mixed audience on the conference. I think you can see it, I think, year by year, to look at the audience and see how it changed. Yeah.
Great. Aaron.
I mean, Erwin, you and me, we will turn 31 next year. So I don't know if we're still young professionals at that time anymore. But yeah, I hope to see much more of them.
Excellent. And from my position as an old person, then I'm very happy, looking forward to transformation. So let's see what next year looks like. I welcome it entirely. Great. Thanks very much for your insights. Everybody's going to be here. So if you've got any questions or thoughts, or would like to demonstrate just how much drive you've got to Aaron, then feel free to do that. And there'll be drinks, coffees, help yourself and enjoy. After this, there'll be networking sessions for anybody who wants to meet people from the media or marketing and communications. But other than that, just to say thanks very much for joining us. It's been really interesting to be here at EXPO Real, and I share your views as well. I think two really interesting, innovative companies who are promoting young leaders and young talent. So it's delightful to see that and to have you here on the panel. Thanks very much to everybody for joining us for this session, and enjoy the rest of EXPO Real. Thank you.